But let me add my little gloss and recognize in a special way the Vice President of the Republic, Mr. Nkosinathi Ndaba Kaolathi, lays a moderating influence when the revolutionary zeal and the radicalism threatens to boil over and go overboard. He moderates. He has a militant tenderness about him. Militant, yes, but tempered, as Otis Redding says in his song, Try a Little Tenderness, tempered with some tenderness. So I acknowledge him gratefully. Let me also recognize the Speaker of the National Assembly, the inimitable Ditapelo Rapids. They seem to not come any better than him. He handles the debates in Parliament with such maturity and aplomb. Sometimes he surprises and shocks me. When the advocate, the lawyer in me would have exploded and lashed out, I see him holding everything down and mediating with so much respect. We recognize you and the great work that you do. He, like me, is a fugitive. He ran away from academia. I fled long before he did and took to the streets. He came after. Let me acknowledge the host, Minister of Higher Education, Prince Maele, whose great initiative and diplomacy has enabled us to gather here today and host this important event. I appreciate the co-host, President and CEO of the Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Peter Scott. Thank you for the remarks that you've made. All the ministers of education from the Commonwealth who are with us here today, thank you very much for your presence. Ministers from Botswana and your assistants, I see you. I thank you for gracing this event. I may thank the acting chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Skills Development, the Member of Parliament, Reason Lekutlan. Recognize all the members of Parliament who are present here. I see many of them. Firebrands. See Mr. Mabeo with his fiery and explosive submissions on the floor of Parliament. I appreciate you, sir. Remind me much of what I used to do myself many years ago, before the moderating influences of the Vice President took hold on me. Thank you very much. We appreciate the work that you do. Members of the Diplomatic Corps who cultivate the relations on which we stand, keep us together, and constantly remind us that the charms and allurements of our togetherness trump every force that may seek to tear us apart, especially in a world so fractured and fissured, a world experiencing a vicious pushback against multilateralism. We count on your diplomatic skills to keep reminding us that we belong together. We are stronger together. Thank you very, very much. May thank heads of international organizations who are with us, heads of security organs, including the band that inspires and helps us to call on the spirit of creativity and innovation. That spirit would not descend without the melodies that you provide. You do a great job. Thank you very much. I haven't seen the mayor, but he's supposed to be here. If he's not here, you can trust that he's somewhere in the streets, trying to make sure that your stay here is as comfortable as it should be. We thank him. Thank all senior government officials, heads of parastatals, captains of industry. We thank the Chancellor of the Botswana Open University, Professor Shilato, and the Vice Chancellor, Professor Moahi, Vice Chancellors of all learning institutions and CEOs of state-owned enterprises who are present here today, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also remind myself that of what we've been told by Shelley, that poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. As I extend my thanks and gratitude to our poet who was dropping down word bombs, inspiring, giving us some soul-stirring, powerful message. Thank you so very much. We are here today because we need to summon from the depths our creative energies in what we are now describing as the knowledge economy, an economy that survives on creativity and innovation. The knowledge economy is an experimental economy, an economy that calls upon us to imagine a future spectacularly different from the cloying circumstances of the present moment. It calls upon us to refashion the institutions, some of which we've inherited, to interrogate some of the inherited dependencies, generate new knowledge, fashion solutions to the trenchant and pressing problems that face our societies and our world. We meet here as the third of such meetings on the African continent. and this meeting takes place in Botswana. A democracy that has now earned its stripes. We went into the elections in the year 2024, having to provide a lasting answer to a persistent question. Could this democracy withstand a change, radical, almost totally unexpected change in the politics of the Republic? A country that had been under the rule of a single political party for well over 58 years, where it was assumed that that status would continue. And on that fateful day of 30th October 2024, the people of this country took a decision expressed in the outcome in terms whereof a different political formation won. And the question was, when that moment came, what would happen? Would those who had held power continue to cling on to it, refuse to give it up, and precipitate chaos and civil strife, as we've seen so many times in many parts, especially of the African continent? Would Botswana remain the exception that it had always been? That question was answered resoundingly when the incumbent president pronounced openly and publicly that there would be a seamless handover of power. This is an occurrence which we may be tempted to take for granted. It ought to happen anyway. Why doesn't it happen as it ought to in so many parts of the continent and indeed the world? So we are most grateful to the people of this republic. We are also grateful to him who at that precise moment, when he realized that power had slipped from his hands, recognized, embraced the verdict of the people, and in so doing, cemented the credentials of the country as an exemplar of democracy. That is the first learning that the country shares with the rest of the world. There's a lot you can learn from the people of this country. And we stand proud because we are truly a democracy. Peaceful. There's certainty, there's safety, there's security, there's credibility. And so when you go back to your respective countries, you'll be able to share the story and the miracle of this country. And so when we gather here against this background, in this Pan Commonwealth Forum, the 11th, we feel greatly humbled to have you. We thank you for coming to be with us, to probe some of these issues that you are called upon to examine. You will examine them honestly. You will examine them truthfully. You will tell the leadership what you think they ought to do that they are not doing. You must feel free to call out any errors, any faults and follies, any vacillations and equivocations that you think need to be addressed. Point them out to us. We count on you. We are weak if you fail in your task of advising, admonishing governments and leaders. And so, we expect from your deliberations rigorous examinations of the challenges that we face. We have people at the margins of our society. They need to access quality education. They need to receive training and skills that prepare them and enable them to participate in the economy of their country and indeed to participate in the region and in the world. This is an economy that has over-relied on a single commodity, on diamonds. We face challenges on that front. They tell us natural diamonds are not selling because synthetic diamonds are claiming a sizable chunk of the market. It's a very weak proposition in my humble view, because a fake can only sell where there is a demand for the genuine article. And the genuine article is the natural diamond. It cannot be supplanted and removed from its pedestal by a fake. So nobody must tell me that natural diamonds are not doing well because some fake has claimed the space. Doesn't make any sense. And so when people fail to position their commodities appropriately, they fudge, they find excuses. I don't want to make any excuses. There will be no fudges and evasions. We must face the realities and do what we are supposed to do as leaders. But we also must diversify. And that calls for innovation. We must also demand more from the creative industry. Because anything that is repeatable will invariably at some point be done by a machine. Some algorithm will be constructed that will do what the human was doing, maybe do it more efficiently. But when she stood here and rendered those lightning bolts of verse and poetry, I said to myself, no algorithm can construct this. Because there's soul there. When she speaks, she bears her soul. She communicates an emotion that cannot be replicated by any algorithm, however smart the inventors may be. So the creative industry is another site of growth. And so we must empower them with learning, expose them to the best that has been thought, and the best that has been done in that space. Not just here, but the world over. It is your responsibility then to bring these learnings to all the people. Open the pathways, the channels of access, so that education is truly accessible. So that our people are resilient. They are imaginative. They are able to look at the adjacent possibilities, but also venture into the realm of the far removed, the realm of the speculative, and create, fashion solutions that may never have been dreamt of before. The task on your shoulders is huge. It is enormous. But I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that this eminent gathering will avail us the solutions we need to create the resilient societies, to generate the sustainable economic activity that will power our Commonwealth of Nations into a future spectacularly different from the current. I would also invite you to take some time, engage with the people. They are warm, they are kind, they are loving, the people of this country. They are the true diamonds of the country. You'll get to appreciate them, and you will also learn from them. We want to encourage research and development. We do not just want to be consumers of knowledge, receive packaged knowledge. We also want to be active participants in the generation of knowledge, bring our own perspectives to the body of learning that is available, enrich it, and help humanity advance. I am thrilled at the amazing benefits that I am certain will come from this gathering, from this forum. And I look forward to those solutions, those ideas, those critiques of the current, of the present, of the conventional that defy the commonplace. And so all the education practitioners, thinkers, scholars, leaders who are here, we look to you as we await the outcomes of your meetings, your deliberations. May they define a new path, a future, as I say, and I say repeatedly, that is spectacularly different from what we know. And so at this point, with the greatest humility, nothing gives me more pride and pleasure than to declare the Pan Commonwealth Forum 11 that we are holding here in Gaborone officially open. It remains for me to thank all of you, but to thank in a special way, I believe he was the first Vice Chancellor of the Botswana Open University and remind him and myself that in one of my travels across the world, I bumped into him. We traveled together. I think he was going to Canada to discuss something along these lines. And he said to me then, and I was not even a member of parliament, I was just a person out in the streets, catching hell like the rest of them, out in the dumps. And he said to me, "You will officially open the event. I'm preparing for you to officially launch." I remember those words vividly. I believed what you said then. It turned out to have the lineaments of a prophecy. It has come to pass. Thank you ever so much for thank you for your sagacity. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe you may want to also meet me privately and prophesy something even more spectacular. As it seems your prophecies do indeed come to pass. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all have a good time in Botswana. Let's relax. Let's think. Let's engage. Let's challenge each other. Bounce our heads off each other. Make our voices known and create some polyphony from which epic solutions will emerge. Thank you. Thank you ever so much.